talk about climate change. People are calling it crisis of our time, and it is. But it's easy to get lost in the story. The scientists and politics get in the way. World leaders are meeting in Madrid to talk about the climate crisis and how to slow it down, and they're under pressure from millions of people around the world calling for concrete actions. So what are we exactly doing wrong, and how do we fix it? So we're gonna kick it some basic science, so bear with me because this is so important. Look at the graph. Look at the levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere over hundreds of thousands of years. As you can see in the port of carbon dioxide in that very end, that covered Industrial Revolution, and we started breaking CO2 records in 1950, and we haven't stopped since. Why? Well, scientists says that there is 95% of chance that human activity is the cause. We've been burning more and more fossil fuels like oil and coal, which release the power of homes, factories, airplanes, and cars.
There's also a lot more of us. The global population has tripled in the past 70 years, and more consuming more products taken from animals that release another blood called methane. So, all of those gases are released into the air. And when some heat into the Earth's atmosphere, some of the heat gets trapped in the planets, gets warmer. That's why they called it the greenhouse effect. The UN says that our world is about 1 degree hotter than pre-industrial homes. And the UN says if we warm by 1.5 degrees before the end of the century, we should be fine. The UN even says 2 degrees will probably be alright. But again, the problem is speed. Because right now, the world tracked to hit 1.5 degrees in only 10 years. If we don't slow the warming down, it could mean catastrophe within my lifetime and maybe yours too, and the world's getting a taste.
Sea levels are rising about 3 millimeters a year because seawater expands as temperatures get warmer. People around the world are already losing their homes, and the things carry on. Millions more of us would have to back up too. Intercoastal cities could be underwater within 80 years, like Miami and Osaka in Japan. The entire island nations in the Pacific could completely disappear. Now, there's a plan to slow all down back in 2016. The world leaders signed the so-called Paris Agreement, and the big pledge is to cut temperature rising by 1.5 degrees or maximum of 2 before the year of 2100. So, countries set their own targets on how much they emit. But here's the thing. 3 years after the agreement, global CO2 levels are still going up.
US is the most biggest polluters. It has pulled out of the Paris deal. Russia and China are accused of not giving themselves ambitious targets in the first place. Turkey and Poland want more power plants that use coal, and there's then skeptics. On the other hand, there is a positive momentum, there are more awareness, and some of the countries are making progress. India, Morocco, and Gambia have massive renewable energy projects, but the expert says what's needed now is an even bigger push to change everything the way we run the world.
Policies can help individuals and communities reduce their carbon footprints by making low-emission development and modes of transportation more convenient. For example, enhance public transportation, bike paths, and walkability can promote smart growth while reducing urban sprawl and traffic congestion. Climate change is one of the most challenging problems that humanity has ever faced. At stake are hundreds of millions of lives, innumerable species and ecosystems, and health and viability of the economy and the future habitability of this planet. Fortunately, climate change is solvable. We have technologies. We have science. We now need the leadership and the courage to change course.